world? My name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to another YouTube channel video, everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing the new movie that came out this weekend, the new Marvel Studios film, Eternals. This was a movie that I was a bit skeptical for, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But surprisingly, I have some surprising thoughts on this. But before we get started talking about Eternals, it's best I talk about what was I expecting going, like, what were my thoughts going into the movie before going into it. And honestly, I was just so surprised with this movie. Like I said, I was happy that this movie was failing because everybody was just so excited for it, and it's like, I'm glad, like I told you, Eternals wasn't going to be good. And surprisingly, this movie is good. So to kick it off, this movie probably has the most world building of the entire MCU. Actually, probably the best world building of all the MCU, and it's probably the best looking MCU film, as all these shots that you see in the movie, they are just so beautiful to look at, because you're actually going to real places in this movie, and it feels real, and I love that. Along those same lines, I think the characters in here, once again, one of the problems that people have been having with this movie is that the characters, the way they're developing them, people didn't like that. I thought that the way they did it with the flashbacks of the certain characters, I thought was interesting. I was kind of crushing on Cersei. But I thought each of them had some interesting things to go with. So let's talk about each and every one of them. So we got Ajak, which is played by Salma Hayek. Really like her in Puss in Boots. The Hitman's Bodyguard. She's a great actress. And I think of all the Eternals, she's probably the weakest because we don't really learn anything about her. We just like her because she's Salma Hayek as a superhero, as an Eternal. But that's it. But anyways. And then you also got Ikaris, which, when he turned bad into the film, I was like, this is basically Marvel's version of Peacemaker. And because in the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker turns bad. And I was like, this is exactly Peacemaker. So I was like, yeah, that seems obvious. But Ikaris does seem like a pretty cool character. But his motivation and stuff seems weird, which we'll get onto the bad eventually. And then we got Cersei. I have to say, even though I was crushing on her, her story did seem a bit weird. She doesn't really have any emotion. Actually, well, she does cry a lot. And I thought the acting for that was pretty good. But I thought that her sort of arc in the movie was like kind of cool, where she was like saying that Earth is beautiful and she just wants to protect it, and it's like she knows the true purpose and she's trying to figure out all this. And I guess she doesn't really have a arc in the movie. And then you got Sprite, which is a character that I enjoyed, as she's this Eternal that was born. She was made as a child and stayed like that. And we've always been questioning throughout the movie, why is she made like this? And it's kind of interesting in the way her character's portrayed, where she can be likable, she can be funny, but it's kind of heartbreaking where she can't grow into an adult. And that's kind of heartbreaking. And then also Thena, Thanos' cousin. I thought she was awesome. Introducing Angelina Jolie into the film, kind of interesting. What she was kind of going through with the debates of her getting her mind erased was kind of interesting. The acting with her is amazing. She beat a lot of deviants' ass, so I thought that was great. Kingo, played by Kumail Nanjiani, another actor being introduced into the MCU. He's also very funny and basically, obviously, the comedic relief. And the stuff that they did with him in the little camera sidekick was also funny. And especially how that guy kept having so many cameras with him. It's like, it's just so funny. Like, how do you have all these cameras with you? And it's just so funny. Makari, the deaf girl, the deaf Eternal, I thought was pretty well done. And I kind of liked how they're doing different things with this movie, where they're introducing deaf characters, and they're also introducing a gay character, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And I thought that it's just kind of interesting to see a deaf character into the MCU. That's just a little thing, but we don't really learn anything about her personality. We just get to see her interactions with other internal characters, and it's just fun. And then you also get this Druig, and he kind of have his own arc where he sees all this violence, hatred around the entire world of Earth, and because of his power set, he thinks that he thinks he can stop all of this, and he wants to stop all of this because it's just terrible, and he can't, because his only mission, why he was sent to Earth, was to save the Earth from deviants. That's it. He can't interfere with human events. Also, Phantos, played by the guy that played the dad in Into the Spider-Verse. I thought that he was also a pretty funny character. Even the scene where he says, "Fall collection, IKEA," I still laugh at. I think that's just one of the best jokes of the entire movie. But I would probably say a lot of Cameron's joke was better. But, yeah. And the way they expressed him being gay, I thought was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. I respect it. So, and I also thought it was a big pleaser to the audience, as people are being gay. And so that way everybody could be accepted. So I thought that was an interesting thing to do. And then also introducing Harry Styles as Thanos' brother, also known as Star Fox, I thought was also pretty good. Oh, also I gotta mention, the action sequences are also really good. The visual effects, it's all great. And I just kind of like how it's still part of this connected universe of space. And then also the end credits scene with introducing Black Knight and Mahershala Ali as Blade, which we don't see him, but we do hear him. I thought all that was great. So that's my thoughts on Eternals for the good. Now let's kind of move on to the bad. And there's a couple of problems with this movie. There's some of the characters in this movie that I don't really think they had a specific arc, and I don't really think I enjoyed many of them. Like, obviously, Thena, Kingo, Druig, I would probably say that I liked them the best, and I did like a little bit of Cersei on screen. I did like Phantos a little bit, and a little bit of Makari. But some of the characters like Icarus and all these other characters, and the guy that got killed, which was with Thena, I just thought that they didn't really do anything. I didn't really care for them. And it was just kind of stupid in the way it turned out with that. Also, as this is the second longest MCU film, which the first one is Avengers Endgame, this movie is 2 hours and 37 minutes. This movie is very long. Like, I think the movie ended for me like at 3:19. Like, that's how long the movie was. And then when it got to the last end credits scene, it ended like at 3:31. So that's how long the movie is. I went there from 12:30 to 3:31. So that's how long I was at the movie theater for. I was at the movies for 3 hours. But it was worth going for. And then also, it just is kind of weird to kind of see some familiar actors just be gone for a couple minutes. Like, for the entire movie. Like, Kit Harington, who basically is Black Knight, he's not in the movie much at all. Like, they create this relationship with him and Cersei, and they don't really develop it, and then they don't show up until, like, the end of the film. And then they have this whole post-credit scene of him picking up a knight, which is for him to be the Black Knight. And I just don't think that was set up very well. I don't know. I don't think that was set up very well. But overall, I had a good time at the movies with this movie. I really enjoyed it. It was definitely much better than what I expected, and I enjoyed it. Oh, and also the Deviants characters, when they got personalities and stuff, I just don't think was very interesting to me. And their whole plotline just did not make sense, as they were created by the Celestials too. And the whole plotline with the Celestials did not make sense. But that's it. That's my problems with the movie. Before I give my final score, be sure to tell me down below, what were your thoughts on Eternals? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Or right in between? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section. With that said, let's get on my scores.